Hello and welcome to the Scientista Podcast, where women in science rule. This podcast is all about really supporting women who are leading with their brains. And I am one of your hosts, Dr. Sweta Chakraborty.
And I'm former Assistant Secretary of State, Monica Medina. The Scientista Podcast brings you conversations with leaders, change makers, and cultural figures sharing how they're turning facts and evidence into real-world impact. So let's dive in.
And we're so excited today.
We're so excited.
We have a special friend, colleague, celebrity who doesn't really need an introduction.
Yes. And we've got a little homage to him because not only is he Bill Nye the Science Guy.
That didn't go nearly as smoothly as I thought it would, but here we go.
Fine.
He is Bill Nye the bow tie guy.
Listeners, the ladies are each wearing bow ties.
Yes, in case you can't see us.
And so Bill, I'm going to take a deep breath to get this list out. So Bill Nye is an American, let's see if I can do it in one breath, science educator, engineer, comedian, television presenter, inventor, keynote speaker, New York Times best-selling author, co-creator and host of the Emmy Award-winning 90s television series Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's probably where we know and love him most, but there's so much more you have done since then, and we're going to get into all of this. So excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here. Now, I'm not a woman.
We noticed.
No, a lot of people are. You know, my mom was, my wife is a woman. But just for listeners to the podcast, if you're expecting all women to be on the podcast, I am not a woman.
We invite special men to come on this podcast, very special ones.
Dream.
Yeah, well,
Dream.
I have to say, this podcast was not real to my kids until this moment because they have been Bill Nye fans since they were teeny weeny, and now I have a grandson. So the next generation is coming on.
Yes. So your people are in their 30s, kind of something?
Yeah, my people are in their late 20s, early 30s, and they just grew up on you. A steady diet of Bill Nye every day.
That's fabulous.
Across so many generations, it's rare that somebody's been able to captivate audiences across such an age range. That is talent. So, okay, this isn't the first question, but it just leads me to my first question that I know scientistas are going to want to know. How have you done it? How have you had such staying power in the media?
Well, first of all, of course, it's my genius. No,
It is.
no. So I work with people, the whole crew, Jim and Aaron, my fellow co-creators, I guess is the term, and the crew. Everybody had a sense of humor, and somehow we anticipated this thing that the kids are doing with their electric phones, where you watch things very quickly. You watch a few seconds of something, then you watch a few seconds of something else. And back in the 20th century,
Way back.
I used to say to people, this may be an older reference. Some of the listeners may remember magazines. This was paper. Yes, plant-based information storage. And so one would find oneself in, let us say, the doctor's office, and you would pick up a magazine that they would have there on the coffee table, entry table, lounge area, and you would just start thumbing through it. What would it be? Tennis Today, Golf Digest, or something, and you would just watch how often you turn the page. It is way faster than once a minute. It's a magazine you're not especially invested in. Pictures, this and that. And so the premise of this Science Guy show is you're watching television with a remote control, and you're flipping channels as fast as you would turn pages back in the doctor's office. And that's about every 45 seconds. And so this turns out to be pretty good for everybody.
Not just kids with short attention spans.
Well, everybody's got a short attention span. That's my claim. And then what do you say right there? What? Yeah, because you had to see what we would have done there.
Yep.
Comedy would have been that simple.
Bill, sorry. But no, the cognitive scientist in me can completely attest to that. That's
Yes.
very true. Limited attention spans. And you managed to completely understand that and use it to your advantage.
Yes, sure. No, we did. I mean, this is very much human nature. But the premise or the conceit, as we say nowadays in comedy writing, is that today every channel you change to is about the same thing. Today it's all about dinosaurs. Today it's all about extreme
Trucks,
weather,
right.
what have you. And so it worked, it worked very well. And it was shot 4:3, your television aspect ratio. Now everything is 16:9, 4 squared by 3 squared. But it still is used in classrooms and so on because we all put our hearts and soul into it, and people were generally funny.
And science doesn't change, it turns out. We learn and we expand on it.
Yeah, fundamental science, the basics, elementary, that's the word, elementary science, which is very important. And we are living at a time where
we need it.
management,
Yeah.
AKA the government, is not populated with scientifically literate people. It is a remarkable time.
There's much to talk about on that, and don't worry, we'll get there.
All right.
So we always start out with how our guests start their career. And you grew up here in Washington, D.C. You're a local guy, and we love that. And both your parents were scientists. I was fascinated to learn about your dad, the prisoner of war in Japan during World War II, and your mom, the code breaker. Wow. And you always seem to be destined for science, but where did the comedy angle come from? And how did that happen? And did you really win a Steve Martin lookalike contest?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that I can make that
Wild
a long
and
story.
crazy.
You have
Yeah.
pictures together, right?
Say again?
You have pictures together? You and Steve Martin?
Yeah, he got to meet me eventually.
We're going to need to find that and attach it to this episode.
I think so.
So when I was a senior in college, the guy who had been my freshman roommate, Dave Lax, he's still out there. He went into material science, I went into mechanical engineering, but we remained friends. And at this point in our story, he lived behind me. We were each renting houses with housemates, and we lived very near each other. And he said he and his housemates had this extraordinary new technology in 1976, cable television.
Woo.
And so he came, the way I describe it, he came hurrying to my house one afternoon. You got to see this, come over, you got to look at this. This is amazing. So it was video of Steve Martin at the boarding house. And the boarding house is a nightclub in San Francisco. It's still there, still housing and boarding. And he goes, Dave Lax says, look at this. This guy's just like you. The way he moves, the way he talks, he's just like you. Look at this. I go, yeah, okay. So along about then, Steve Martin became a phenom. I claim that his first 2 albums, Let's Get Small and Wild and Crazy Guy, took over the world. After the success
He was big. He was big.
Yeah. Well, after the success of those early albums, I claim every major city in the U.S. and Canada had 1 or 2 comedy clubs. Before that, you would have a nightclub that would have a singer, a variety show, sure. A singer, a juggler, a magician, a comic, this and that. Well, I believe, after long about 1977, comedy clubs were everywhere. Now they're a staple in the U.S. and Anglophonic Canada. Anyway, so this Steve Martin was so big. How big was he? He was so big. Warner Brothers Records sponsored a Steve Martin lookalike contest, and a whole completely different set of friends, guys and gals I'd met in Seattle, encouraged me to enter this contest, and I did, and I won.
And you were an engineer then, right?
Yes, I still am, doggone it. No, so I did not advance beyond Seattle. The guy who beat me, Mike Berger, went on to be runner-up in the national the guy who won.
There was a national contest.
Mike Berger, I had dinner with him a few weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
No, he's not my best friend in the world, but we hang out now and then. Yeah. No, he was...
Oh my God! All these Steve Martin lookalikes.
Well,
can you imagine?
If you're of a certain
age, an Instagram
age,
moment for sure.
You would remember there was a television show called Mike and Maddie,
and
he was the Mike.
Oh wow!
It was an afternoon talk show or morning rather.
Like show produced so many celebrities.
Well, he is from San Francisco, and people who want to be good at being a talk show are not that common. Being a talk show host, rather, are not that common. There's a lot of people who do pretty well. But Mike Berger was at the top of his game for few years.
Wow.
So I saw him the other day. I met him at the Hermosa Beach Comedy Club, which is
Nice.
famous.
Wow.
If you're into this little world, it's a famous comedy club in Helena, Montana. No, wait, it's in Hermosa Beach. That's where they got that name for the idea for the name.
The locations and the name.
Yes, and Jay Leno is still working.
Are you friends with anyone who won a Bill Nye lookalike contest?
No, not that I know of, but I have met many, many people who either do or did go to Halloween trick or treating
Oh, of
as
course.
Bill Nye. Yeah,
My kids all did impersonations of
I
you.
love them.
Okay, you love we're talking about kids, Monica's kids. We're talking generally about the next generation and how they're still they really need you. They need how you translate science and make it accessible. So I have to ask you this. This is a moment in time where science feels like it's under attack.
Man,
And
woman.
Yeah.
children are being affected by this, not just in terms of the lack of support for science, but also because some of these policies that are coming out of the Trump administration are directly impacting children's health, like vaccinations. Can you
Crazy making.
how are you thinking about all of this?
Well, I'm troubled, and when I get a chance, let's say I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
Scientista.
Scientista.
Yes, plural. We talk about it. So everybody understand the extraordinary nature of this. So vaccines have been around a couple hundred years. Koch noticed that women who got cowpox did not get smallpox, and he extrapolated this to create a smallpox inoculation, and then later vaccines were developed. Louis Pasteur found if you boiled milk, that you don't get sick from it. And there are people.
Well, and people are now not doing that. I don't get it.
What are you guys doing? This is very well understood. And to ignore it is really extraordinary. And I understand this belief that the man is out to get you. And so the man is the government, and therefore anything the government supports is bad. I understand that point of view. But when it comes to pasteurized milk, that's not the man.
Yeah.
That's nature. And as we say along this line about vaccinations, pasteurized milk, common sense, science, everybody, the word science is in the U.S. Constitution. 1787, when these guys are all arguing about this in Philadelphia, whatever. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8.
Wow.
Congress
He's a lawyer
is to
too.
promote the progress of science
Yes,
and useful arts. That's in the Constitution. Then it goes on about what nowadays you'd call intellectual property. But the word science, 1787, people. And right above that, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 7, Congress shall establish a post office. We're not privatizing the post office. That's the whole idea, is everybody can mail a letter to everybody at the same price. Are you people high? What is wrong with you?
It is the genius of our government that
It's
we
amazing.
collaborate on so many things. We find the common good, and the government. I find this all the time about the National Weather Service. I was at NOAA. I'm wearing my NOAA pin today because I'm always back in NOAA, and they're in such extremis right now because of all the cuts. And, weather, like that's another part of kind of our history. And the government providing great weather, and that's evolved to climate. And our friends at Climate Power call you Bill Nye the Climate Guy. And so
I've trademarked that, everybody. No, I did. I trademarked Bill Nye Climate Guy. Yes.
As you should.
And thank goodness we need somebody to explain climate to people who are now thinking that's like a dirty word. It's something evil or wrong or manipulative when it's just a term in science. Talk about that.
Well, this ignorance or deliberate ignorance of climate change is not in anyone's best interest. Even the fossil fuel industry executives who might believe it is in their best interest to keep doing what they're doing, sooner or later it will not be in anybody's best interest. And this is on this podcast, I presume we are all on board with this fundamental idea, but we have
We
to
are.
push back until the other side comes around, because they will eventually. I mean, we just starting as we're recording this. Speaking of NOAA, we are just starting the official beginning of hurricane season.
Yes, we are.
And because of the warm waters in the Atlantic and the mid-Atlantic, everybody anticipates a robust hurricane season. And then all these storms are going to come ashore and tear everything up. And then who's going to pay for it? Well, we've also closed FEMA, or trying to, right? Federal Emergency Management Administration. So this will all catch up with people. Just the sooner the better.
Yeah,
Everybody comes around.
it's one of those things. We've talked a lot about it among our NOAA alumni community, about the degradation of weather forecasts because of the loss of people at NOAA, and how that will have real world impacts, and the ones that you don't really want to measure, not just even the strength of the storm, but the number of people displaced or who didn't get warnings and didn't leave because of incremental or giant, actually, but badly thought through cuts at NOAA.
Well, you're preaching to the choir, people. And so everybody, vote. Vote.
It was really amazing. You volunteered your time to be a Kamala Harris climate surrogate. Monica and I were talking about that's how we all came together initially. And so obviously she didn't win the election, which is devastating. And I was saying how I am putting all the grief of that election outcome towards Scientista, because if Scientista is successful, Scientista will achieve global gender parity, and we won't have a Kamala Harris loss in the future, right? The woman who deserved the job will get the job.
Well, that everybody, as an expert on elections that I am, that's
You're an expert on the Constitution.
Yeah, well, no, that one thing. So everybody, this is. I'm not joking. The reason Harris didn't win is because of Biden. Sorry, I love you all, but if the guy had stepped down in March, the world would be different. The world would be very different, and he didn't for various reasons. And here we are. Well, he said this, and the laptop, and I got all that, but it was just a confluence of unfortunate events.
Well, I think also the right-wing media has dominated, and someone like you has the ability to break through.
Well, they don't have me on anymore, everybody. So the landmark, the turning point moment,
I used to be on Fox.
Yeah. So I'll just say, everybody, and Fox, if you're out there, I'll come on any old time. And
bring Bill Nye onto Fox News.
And I remind you, are you sure? So Fox has, and the knock on conservative media have ruined the world. I was watching last night for a while. They just work so hard on creating villains and the other side and them and they.
Yeah. And making green and climate a villain. That's why I love your comedy, because it gives us something to laugh about. It's such a hard topic, and I think people get so down. So talk about that. There aren't a lot of celebrity scientist comedians out there. There's you and you and and you.
Well, thank you.
Some lookalikes, maybe.
No, but you asked earlier about my dad, and my father was not a scientist, although he referred to himself continually as Ned Nye, boy scientist. Every time he solved some problem, got the wind meter on the roof working and so on. We had, a small weather station at our house in Northwest Washington, because my dad was a hobbyist. He was a sales guy, but I claim the reason he survived being a prisoner of war for 4 years was he was funny.
Yeah.
He had a sense of humor. I mean, it wasn't like it was
gallows humor.
Doubled over hilarity, but he got through it because he could find joy in things. And, he had ataxia. I don't know if you've heard this word, but certain people in my family who've inherited this repeating gene, or a repeating pattern in a gene, rather, you get this inability to walk to ataxia, difficulty swallowing. Oh, yeah, it sucks. And so part of what enabled him to deal with that was his sense of humor. And people on that side of the family, I think, are very funny.
So it's an important part of how we keep hope and how we keep going at this moment.
Yes.
That's my takeaway from that
Yes.
story as well.
Yes. Hilarious. So see how you laugh?
Yeah.
Like you listen to these guys talking about vaccines, and it's funny. They're cartoons of just missing the point on an extraordinary level.
I have to laugh at it, I
You
guess.
do.
If it
Some
wasn't
level,
so consequential.
I mean, it's very serious, but it is also funny.
Well, we appreciate that. You have helped make science accessible in a funny way. And at this moment, we're in this, Sweta talked about it a minute ago about Kamala Harris's loss and women. And, the zeitgeist in America is sort of men need to, kind of get their groove back, their power back. But women in science have really always had to kind of take a back seat. How do we get more women on stage in front of cameras and, being the funny scientist? I don't even know if a woman could pull it off the way you have. How do we get there to a place where women scientists get to that central spot and even can feel comfortable enough to be funny and zany?
How do we create a female version of you that lasts across generations?
Well, thank you guys. I think
he's like, why are you trying to replace me?
so. I remind you that I didn't. I did not say to myself, what I'm going to do is get an engineering degree so that I can someday start doing stand-up comedy after this unexpected contest and then have a television show. That was not an idea I had when I was 11 years old or something. So it's organic. One must find his or her way. And I came of age at a time when there were a finite number of television stations. And so there's almost an infinite number of, certainly in a practical sense, there are more than anybody could ever tune into. So more media outlets than anybody could ever tune into. So if this woman that you're anticipating rises to the top and changes the world, go for it, man, woman. You'll find your way. So everybody, the Science Guy show was created based on research. So we had great interest from the Department of Energy. So the Department of Energy at that time was run by a guy named Rich Stevens. He's long retired, but he had the problem that I'm sure you had at NOAA, where you needed scientists or technically literate people in the pipeline, as the saying goes. People retire. It's a problem we're having right now in air traffic. People retire and there aren't people to replace them.
Right.
So Rich Stevens was keenly aware of this, and this was at this extraordinary do-gooder woman trying to change the world time of Tipper Gore and the Children's Television Act, where she felt that, and it was Newt Minow who said, hey man, television's a wasteland, if you remember this comment. So there was an effort to make children's television not be just for selling toys, what it was in the late 1980s and early 90s. And so we were at the right place at the right time with this idea. So then with this money interest, willing to do a pilot, we got into some research about what people needed to know about science.
Sure.
And so it was discovered or proven to a reasonable extent that 10 years old is about as old as you can be to get this so-called lifelong passion for science. And that's not my idea exactly, but it's research-based. And ask yourself, when did you want to be a scientist?
Yeah, exactly.
It was before you were 10. When did you like the weather? It was
before I was 10. I had that weather station on my house.
Absolutely. And ask whatever you're doing. You're a physician, you're a dentist, you're a gardener, you're a farmer. You had an interest in all that before you were 10 years old. Or maybe it's 12, but it ain't 27 or something.
And
Go ahead. Yes,
your
ma'am.
your persona you're such a gentleman. Your persona lends itself so well to this audience. You've got this kind of zany
I'm
scientist,
zany. I'm full of zane.
and kids love that, right? And
Kids
then
of all ages.
and your persona, when I say persona, it's not because I've had the privilege of getting to know you off camera and in social environments. And this is really you. It's authentically
Yes, it's
you.
a blessing and a curse. The blurs. So everybody, one of a feature and a bug of television is you just can't lie to the camera. Everybody, this is good and bad. And so when I'm on camera doing the kids show, talking to the viewer, I'm talking to one person and I mean it. I'm serious about this. If we're talking about vaccinations, we did a very good bit about human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, that was good. When we're talking about lights and colors, I just think this is all wonderful and I'm so excited about it. That's all true. And so along this line, I point out to people, you don't hate anyone more than you hate someone on television. Because the guy or gal is in your living room. He won't listen to you. You're yelling at him and he won't listen.
That is definitely my experience with Fox.
Yeah, yeah.
Parasocial relationships. We have a word for this now.
What is it?
Parasocial. That one-way relationship with the person.
Parasocial.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
But people do
Thank you, doctor.
appreciate the personal relationship they develop. They do, despite the fact that you on television can't hear them at home. They think you can in a weird way. They kind of develop this friendship with you. And
Well, that's what sells.
Yeah.
Sells. Rather, that's what makes a television host, and especially an anchor, valuable to the network or to you as a viewer, is this person is believable and so, or trustworthy.
same with podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, all these, even these shorter mediums. I do think that constant relationship with the audience. Scientistas, we want a relationship with you. Note, we get that.
Make a note.
Yes.
No, really, listen to this podcast again if you are feeling it, as the kids say.
And this is, so the point I wanted to take away from this part of the conversation was authenticity really matters, right?
Yes, authenticity matters. Trust me. That's a great one. Okay, hold it. He told me to trust him. Do I trust him? I don't know. Wait a minute.
So if somebody wants to build a media presence, would you say that they need to be their authentic selves to succeed in that?
Yeah, you can't. And the other example of this is stand-up comedy. I mean, in general, you can't, in stand-up, you have to be authentic. So whether or not, and even if your personality is hate me, that's authentic hate. You know, that's a real feeling that the audience feels. And books have been written about this, you all. It's not my idea, but it is a real thing. You have to build trust with the viewer by being yourself. There's just something. Hey, doctor, you can tell when someone's.
I like hearing you say it though. Because I'm
saying what?
What you just said.
Hey, doctor.
No, how important authenticity is in building trust. Because I hammer away at this all the time, but there's something about hearing it in your voice that I think is really going to resonate with the audience.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Well, and I think kids can kind of sniff out BS. Is another scientific term. Especially kids can tell when somebody's.
Well, maybe just because the kids have less experience with liars, but kids lie. Come on.
That is
I don't
true.
want to shock you, Mom.
Sorry, my kid.
Yeah. But the people, this is something we learned very early, the right amount of deception to carry on in the day. And so this, we're digressing a little bit. We're talking about science education and what is going on with the world, that we have these people in government who have lost their way, who do not accept the facts of science. And now we have these guys and gals who think that government is bad and who are in government. This guy who says he wants civil servants to be in trauma. Like, everybody, you don't want that. You want people to be productive.
These are people who are saving your life and giving all of their everything to it.
Well, the premise is that there must be fraud. What are the three words?
Fraud, waste, and
Waste,
abuse.
fraud, and abuse because
And they're not finding it.
there just has to be because
Because it's a
Government's
big
been
number.
under a microscope. They would have found it by now. I was listening to a broadcast on this. There's more fraud and abuse in private sector because they're not being scrutinized the same way
Right.
the government is. Sorry, now I'm digressing. My
No,
favorite part
but-
of hanging out is digressing with you.
no, but this is your business, right? Is how much deception people can get away with. And your claim, if I understand it, is that you can get away with less
Right.
in government.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, you have become a national treasure. I'll just
Right
put
on.
it that. I'll just put it out there. I'm such a fangirl.
They made him an award recently.
And it was wonderful that President Biden awarded you a Presidential Medal of Freedom. That kind of gave you both the recognition you deserve, but also helped for people to see that you are a trusted voice in science.
I love you. Yes, thank you.
How much did that mean to you?
Oh, you guys, everybody. So both of my parents were veterans of World War II, as we say. We're here in Washington, D.C. My parents' ashes are at Arlington Cemetery.
Gosh.
It's quite moving. Go over there, look at the plaques in the columbarium, and it's really something. So they were veterans. Getting the Medal of Freedom just means the world to me. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
So
I
well
mean, I am choked. It is really something.
Every time I think about the trouble we're in now, I think about the generation that your parents were in and what they lived through, being a prisoner of war, doing code breaking so that we could really, literally save our country from a world war, a real world war, not a.
So,
pretend.
by the way, speaking of diversity, all right, and women,
Yeah.
the Allies, and in this case, the U.S., recruited more than 10,000 women to break codes.
Very cool.
And they did. The Nazis and the Japanese military did not. And they lost. Coincidence? No. No. Diversity, as the saying goes, defense wins games, diversity wins wars. This is the real thing, you guys. This is objectively true. Just read anything you want about the Battle of Midway, which was a turning point for the Allies in the war in the Pacific. It was Agnes Driscoll, a woman code breaker, who broke the Japanese naval code and enabled the U.S. to fool the Japanese naval commanders and shoot down this guy Yamamoto. They lost their leadership at a critical time. And this is because of code breaking, people.
So there's science and diversity for progressing science.
Oh, yeah. Wait a second. Wait, is there an R in the month? What happened there? Yes.
I thought about that for a minute to make sure it made sense, and I know it does.
Well, it's a real thing, everybody. And when you include women in analytic tasks like that, you have twice as many brains than if you don't. And this is not rocket surgery. This is objectively true. So we'll see what the future holds. But right now, you can't win wars by excluding a large fraction of your workforce.
Monica, I know you want to ask Bill about reality TV.
I do.
Please do.
I do. I have to ask you about, your great work on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, you guys, that could have been so cool.
It would have
No, I spent a lot of time
been
dancing.
injury, succumbed to injury. But we really admire the fact that you were willing to get out there and do that
Oh,
at a
man.
time
Oh, yeah, it was
when,
cool. No.
that was the biggest show on television.
Well, it still is pretty big.
It is.
People like my sister and aunt and people like this. So it was really cool experience, you guys. I would do it again in a heartbeat, but I tore my quadriceps tendon.
This is serious.
Whatever that is.
They really
yeah.
make you do it.
And,
It wasn't CGI.
No, and I went to no, it's not CGI. I went to the sports medicine guy and I said, "Why did this happen?" He said, "You're old.
That's so mean.
You're old. That's just, dude."
But you're young. What's next for you? Okay, you broke the barrier with being a scientist on the dancing show. What's next for Bill Nye?
Well, I'm working on, you guys, as we always are. I'm working on another book. The astronomy picture of the day, APOD. Anyway,
After this,
you can imagine, you guys. There's a website
Of course.
where
People love space. They love
Yeah, people of all ages. Bob, I don't want to mess it up.
We'll go look for it.
Nimryer and Jerry, Bob and Jerry published I'm under pressure, you guys, publish these pictures every day. And so we're doing another book about it. It's good. There hasn't been an APOD book in almost 30 years. So we're doing another one. And then
I hope that will help people to protect space. I worry about, kind of the using and the abusing of space.
Well, so everybody, we all rely on space assets. And so you worked at NOAA. The NOAA satellites are essential.
They're a gem. They are.
When I was
crucial.
young, or as I like to say, when I was young, if we could determine the path of a hurricane within what would it used to be 50 nautical, 100 nautical miles.
It was a big, wide cone.
100 miles.
Right. And a long time, we didn't have the time
when's it going to
landfall
arrive? Yeah,
down
right.
at all
now,
back in the day.
Now, if the weather forecast is off 20 minutes, people start complaining. Now we know the path of a hurricane within just 5 nautical miles. And so,
what progress? We've been making progress.
Yeah,
Imagine
we're tearing it down
because of satellites,
Yes.
satellite information. And so the plan right now is to shut down enough of NOAA so the satellites are not accessible.
Right.
Terrible. It's nutty. And so they want to cut the NASA science. I'm laughing, but what? They want to cut the NASA science budget in half. Okay, you guys.
I know.
I've been to Goddard Space Flight Center here in Maryland. It's between Washington and Baltimore. And there's the Nancy Grace Roman telescope. It's this huge space telescope made with the equivalent of a surplus military mirror.
Wow.
Under budget, on time, ready to fly. We're not going to fly it because this budget. What? And then so there are these two spacecraft, Voyager, famous spacecraft, launched 50 years ago. And they want to turn them off? What are you talking about? You can't just put another one out there. It takes 50 years. Like, you guys, what are you thinking? You're not thinking.
Right.
And so this idea that government is bad and you got to slash spending is an illusion.
It is.
And so it's easy for us to say, but everybody vote. Please vote. Back to you.
Okay, that is the best takeaway, but we're going to ask you for one last takeaway. Thank you for your time. This, as always, I wish we had more time together to talk about all the issues, all the science issues.
A man can dream.
Hopefully you'll be back.
Wearing bow ties, everybody. Oh, yes,
we are fans.
Yes,
This will be on Spotify as the video version. Okay, so our last question to you is, give us an example of a curveball that was thrown your way at some point in your career and how you handled that and what that means for scientistas listening in who will inevitably have a curveball thrown at them.
Well, you guys, I was on the David Letterman show once.
That must have been... I'm going to go look for that.
Well, you can't find it because the Letterman, whatever it is, consortium corporation has suppressed almost all of it. And it was terrible. He was...
he could be a tough interview.
Well, he was mean. He was just in his self-loathing, turned up to 11 time. And I thought, I'm a failure. This sucks. I'll never get anywhere. I have no business trying to do what I'm doing. This has been a waste of time. But you just got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again, if I may quote the song. So that was a real downer, got to say, because I had such high hopes and such high expectations. And then that thing, when you blow it, when the ground ball goes through your legs into left field or center field, what have you. Next time, what I'm going to do next time. But it's done. It's whiskey under the bridge. You can't go back. We are all time travelers going one way.
And all this stuff
that was a real drag. You just got to go, okay.
It doesn't stay forever because something new will replace it. Your next thing will be what people talk about.
Yes.
But stick to itness. That's always been my philosophy. Just keep going.
Well, I just say this all the time. You ask anybody who's made it big or done okay, And they all say, oh, it was easy. There was nothing to it. There were no set. No one ever says that. It was so there were, you guys, when I was an engineer at this point in our story, I was working at Sunstrand Data Control, which through waste, fraud, and abuse went out of business, got absorbed by Honeywell. But before that, I was working there on this project, and I could tell things were not being managed especially well. And sure enough, well, a digression. Years later, the guy they were relying on had been stealing secrets from another company, died of a heart attack, and this and that. But all that aside, I quit my job October 3rd, 1986, roughly, and I had $5,000, and that was to me enough money to live for 6 months without changing anything. I could still just live my life.
Right. You didn't have to skip lunch.
That's right. Well, although I was very aware of, money was a huge thing on my mind all the time. I bought a really nice pair of ice skates, thinking I could afford to go ice skating. This is in Seattle, you guys, where they used to have winter time and stuff. And so there were those 6 months when I just wasn't sure it was going to work out. And there was a lot of anxiety for me before things started to do okay. Like, see, at this comedy show where I started in Seattle, it's the comedy show. It's called Almost Live. It's where Joel McHale started 10 years behind me.
Familiar name.
15 years behind me. And if you ever saw the movie or heard of the movie Nebraska, the guy who wrote that, Bob Nelson, came from that show. But I was making $300 a week, even in
hard to live on that.
Yeah, you're not getting by on that. And the other thing about freelance television, it goes for 6 weeks. No, then we're taking a month off. Then taking a month, like it's not enough.
No.
So I was really anxious about whether or not I was going to get through it. But you just stick with it, and then things worked out. So nobody says you're looking for your woman scientist who's going to take over the world.
Yes.
Nobody says she's not going to emerge and say, oh, it was easy. There was nothing to it. Everybody, my mother, people, graduated college in 1942, recruited by the Navy that spring after Pearl Harbor. She would tell you she got her master's degree then in 1972.
Wow.
And she got her doctorate in 1982.
Stuck with it.
And she marched in equal rights amendments parades, and she hyphenated her last name, and she subscribed to Ms. Magazine. She was on the vanguard of that. And so it's never been easy to make significant political change. That's all I'm saying. And this may be especially true for scientistas, for women.
Well, you are a national treasure.
Truly. And your parents. Thank you for all of your service, your whole family.
Well, you guys, I didn't join the military and get my head blown off. You guys, to be born a white guy in a household where academic achievement was important, English as your first language, dude, what do you want? What else do you want?
Well,
it doesn't get
persevere through those moments that you have
better pull it off. That's all I'm saying.
But you really took science to another level and brought it into people's homes and their families. So I have to say a personal thank you for that.
Oh man, when you're in love, you want to tell the world. And I know you're a behavioral scientist, Sweta, and
I'm a lawyer.
You're a lawyer.
Oh, trouble.
But I remind everybody, everything happens for a reason. And that reason is usually
love.
Physics.
Oh. Well, there's some physics there.
Study of motion and energy. Carry on.
Thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. We really enjoyed every minute of it. And scientistas out there, if you enjoyed this episode, please drop us some comments, give us your feedback, share it with friends.
And always check us out for the latest updates and news at scientista.world. Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you, Bill, for being here with us today.